If you happen to be planning a long-term visit or maybe a semi-retired half-life in Japan, then it would be helpful to have some info on the costs. So I thought it would be interesting to track every single yen I spent during the entire month of May in 2026. I've grouped every single purchase, receipt, and photo into just 3 simple categories: food, travel, and other. In this video, we are diving into each category using the actual photos and clips I took on the day. By the end, we'll look at the grand total and see how far my money actually goes in Tokyo. Obviously, this is just one example, and it is highly specific to my lifestyle, but hopefully you can still find this info helpful. Before breaking it down, I'd encourage you to join the community Discord. Lots of great people there, and I think you'll find a very engaging community of like-minded people if you're interested in Japan and financial independence. And please subscribe for more content like this video. How much do you think I'll end up spending? But for now, let's get into all the ridiculous purchases I made in May. Let's start with category 1, food. This covers everything from convenience store runs, restaurants, food stands, and supermarket hauls. I found that I make almost daily stops at my local My Basket grocery store. I would like to say I buy groceries, but the photos don't lie. Most of the time, I am just buying ready-to-eat food like sandwiches. Also, so many snacks. And I was lucky, or unlucky, depending on your point of view, that this was the month the market was stocking one of my favorite Japanese sweets, named Yatsuhashi. As I scroll through these photos, you may notice a lack of something. Yes, for those that don't know, I am a vegetarian, so I made no meat or fish purchases. However, I went through a crazy amount of eggs, and I did have real groceries a few times. This was the first full month that I started making weekly videos, and that really messed up my routine for a while. This resulted in many late nights where I'd make a stop at a nearby convenience store if the markets were closed. This was generally more the same, but since these things are slightly more expensive at Konbini, I would buy less things per visit. I also eat out very often, and you'll definitely see that I certainly have my favorites. Mott's Burger was a frequent destination along with Spontini Pizza and Falafel Brothers. I made a few stops at Koko Uchibanya Curry to see if I could conquer the spice levels. I did. If you haven't tried it, the Indian food in Japan is also really good, and I bought that on occasion as well. I love ramen, but being vegetarian means I don't stop for it very often. However, I do frequent conveyor belt sushi restaurants a decent amount. I enjoy a kushikatsu restaurant named Kushiya Monogatari as well. It's fun. If you ever want a novel experience on your visit to Japan, I do recommend this above any other restaurant in this video. I also love bubble tea and taiyaki, as you can see from all the stops I made, which slowly add up over time. However, the best sweet I had this month were the fluffy pancakes at French Toast Factory in Akihabara. There were a few unique stops as well, such as my meals at Disney Sea and the snacks I bought when going to the movie theater. Oh, and this chocolate banana at the Golden Week Festival in Ome, where I met a wild goat in the woods. Luckily, he didn't want the chocolate. I capped the month off with a visit to the Kometa Vegan Cafe in Ginza, which was my most expensive single meal at 3,310 yen, which is only about 20 American dollars. Being vegetarian means I avoid a lot of expensive dining possibilities. I also don't drink alcohol, so I avoid some expenses there. However, all of this still adds up pretty fast. I ended the month spending 85,751 yen, or about 550 USD, on all of the food-related purchases. I can definitely do better, and hopefully I can return to mostly home cooking once my routine evens out. Avoiding random My Basket runs would probably be the biggest cost saver in the future. This category is travel, and that should be an easy one to cover. If I bought a train ticket or used my IC card, then I tracked it here. I have used the same Suica card for years, and I actually carry a few on me in case my friends ever need one when they visit. I sadly have an American Android phone, so I cannot add the card to my phone. This means I need to charge my physical card with cash I withdraw from the ATM. If I could, I would love to use my credit card on the app, but it just isn't an option for me. I live near Shinjuku Station, and I actually like to walk whenever possible. I'll walk to somewhere like Shibuya or Nakano without a second thought, and that saves me a little money on travel. There were a couple longer train trips, specifically when I went to visit Ome for Golden Week, Kawaguchiko for an attempt at a Fuji photo shoot, and Disney Sea for, well, Disney Sea. This was the cheapest category for me this month, which isn't always the case. I didn't take any Shinkansen or airplane trips, which isn't uncommon for me typically. However, I avoided major travel this month due to Golden Week, with the final result being a total of 9,986 yen, or about $65 USD, spent on travel and transportation in May. I think that is pretty good, and I don't think there is really a way for me to improve on that number. Finally, category 3 is Other. This is the catch-all for everything else required to live and function here, along with any entertainment and hobby-related purchases that are not strictly necessary. My main hobby of choice is toy collecting, and that made an appearance a few times this month. Transformers are the name of the game for me, and I bought 4 in May, all from Mandarake hobby shops in Nakano and Akihabara. These can range in prices greatly, with the most expensive costing me 9,900 yen, the second one priced at 4,400 yen, and the two cheapest being 2,750 yen. I also made a random Digimon model kit purchase. I actually already own one of these that I bought new in Japan years ago, but I lost a piece, so I decided to buy an extra from Book Off. I visited the movies twice, once to see The Mandalorian and Grogu, which was fun, and again to see The Devil Wears Prada 2, which I did enjoy more. The cheapest purchase in this category was 150 yen to enter the gardens in Shiodome, but coincidentally, it was followed by the most expensive day. My random visit to Tokyo Disney Sea, which cost me 9,400 yen for the ticket alone, but then a couple souvenir purchases for both myself and an American friend back home. I still think Disney Sea is a decent value for what it is though. The most irresponsible purchase was the 2,000 yen I spent at the arcade on a metal pushing baseball game. Strictly speaking, it is a total waste of money since you literally can only win more medals, and the medals can only be used to play the game longer, but I did find it entertaining for an hour or two. Now, before I reveal the total amount spent in this category, I will say that I usually spend a little more on things like museums, arcades, or trips. However, I randomly had the impulse to play Persona 5 Royal this month. I played the original years ago and bought Royal, but had never played it until now, so I lost a lot of time in the middle of the month to that. Over 90 hours, to be honest, so I saved some money on entertainment, but probably lost some cash to middle of the night stack runs while grinding in that game. Regardless of the reasons why, I ended up spending 48,608 yen, or about $310 on non-food or travel-related purchases in May. Combining all three categories together, I spent a grand total of 125,897 yen, or the equivalent of about $810 in USD. Now, keen viewers might notice a couple large purchases missing from this analysis: rent and phone service. This is because I paid for my apartment in full at the end of 2025, so I don't actually make monthly payments for that, while my phone service is through Google Fi and entirely set up in America, so that purchase isn't made in Japan. But let's go ahead and add them to the total after the fact so we can get a more complete picture. I still pay for unlimited Google Fi service, and I made a few international calls in May, so that cost me about $73.06. Well, my rent is admittedly ridiculous. Please know that I made this decision before I got laid off, so don't judge me too hard. Split across the 6 months I have the apartment, the monthly price is 448,619 yen, or about 2,900 USD at the time of purchase. The yen has dropped a bit since then, but Blue Ground just has very pricey offerings. That hurts to say out loud and definitely inflates the monthly costs by an insane amount. I've already secured a new apartment that is half the price, so it won't be as bad going forward. However, this means that my true cost to live in Tokyo in May of 2026 was about $3,683 USD. If I spent this every month, then it certainly exceeds what would be considered 4% of my portfolio in terms of my sustainable FIRE lifestyle. Like I said, the apartment was purchased before I lost my job and would be living my FIRE life. Once I downsize, my spending will become much more manageable. So what do you think about my purchases? How do you think it would compare to your life in Japan? Am I spending too much on bubble tea? The answer to the last one is yes, but I'd like to hear what you think in the comments. If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe to help support the channel. I recently created a Ko-fi and Patreon account because I am unable to monetize the channel through YouTube. If you enjoy the content and have some spare cash, then I would greatly appreciate a donation. It helps me finance the production of these videos, and if you become a patron, then your name can be featured in a video, or you can have access to my videos a week early. As always, I'd love it if you can join the Discord to chat with both myself and the lovely community forming there. I still have a promo code for Hmlet as well if you ever want to give a monthly mansion a try in Tokyo for a slightly cheaper price than my place from Blue Ground. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.